Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. So here in the United States, we are celebrating Thanksgiving this week. And a lot of people are going to be eating a lot of turkey. That's not my family. Personally, I don't mind turkey, but no one in my family really loves turkey. So turkey has a little bit of a bad feel in my family. And something happened in the last few days that inspired me to make a video and to reflect on my collection. What turkeys do I have in my collection? What records are disappointing in one way or another? Now, there has to be something I like about each record or they wouldn't be in my collection anymore. But these are some records that are pretty bad in one way, and I'm going to explain how. And it's inspired by a true life event. I recently, I would say about 2 weeks ago, maybe getting close to 2 weeks ago, I placed an order, got a notification from Acoustic Sounds, and they had just went open with a pre-order for an album called Birth of the Blue. And it's Miles Davis and all of the people, the personnel who made the incredible record Kind of Blue, which is one my husband absolutely loves. He'll sit in here in this music room with me and listen to it. So I thought, yeah, I gotta get, it's the same personnel, just some different songs, gotta have that one. And I looked and I saw there was a blue vinyl version available, only 1,000 copies, so very, very limited. But I went on there, clicked on it, placed my order. The order was accepted. Thank you for your order. I got this email. You know, that's what happens when you order a record and you're going to get the record. Thank you for your order, Melinda. So I didn't really think anything of it. I guess I just thought, well, when the record is released, I will get it. Wrong. I got an email a whole week later, a full week later. Sorry, we canceled your order. And I don't really know why in this day and age. You know, if I went to order something and already all 1,000 copies had been spoken for, wouldn't it have said, sorry, sold out? And I wouldn't have placed an order. And maybe they do make a mistake and get a few extras before they stop it. Can you give me a little bit of a notice, a full week, before you can tell me you've canceled my order? So a little bit of a, negativity there. I love Analog Productions, Acoustic Sounds. I've met Chad personally, and I think he's a nice guy, so I'm not holding any grudges other than it inspired me to make this video and let off some steam about it. And yes, I know you're going to type in here because I get this all the time. This is a first world problem. No duh. Look around. This whole room is a first world problem. I mean, there's nothing in here that is going to save a third world country. Obviously, this is just part of one of those small little complaints you have about collecting. So yes, I get it. This means absolutely nothing in the true scheme of life. Absolutely not. But like I said, I wanted to share some of the records in my collection that just kind of like, what were you thinking? What's going on? Why did I do this? Some of the turkeys I own them. I'm the turkey in this scenario on some of these. So, and also I just want to say, I know I'm going to get some hate, and that's fine. You're going to dog me on some of these things I'm going to say. It would be really boring if you and I agreed on everything. So bring it on. It's fine. You can be nicely critical. I always appreciate that. But, I don't expect us to agree on this. And if I slam your favorite artist, who cares? I'm just this middle-aged woman making a video, and I don't have anything to do with your enjoyment of a record, okay? So having all that said and bringing all that up, let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Willie Nelson, Stardust. No. This is not something that's a turkey at all. I absolutely love this record. Willie Nelson, Stardust. It is Willie Nelson, his sweet, tender voice singing some amazing standards. How can you go wrong? So I love it when Willie Nelson does it, and yet when my favorite solo artist of all time does it, he comes up with Kisses on the Bottom. What a terrible name. Kisses on the Bottom. It is one of the worst album titles I've ever heard. And it's Paul McCartney, one of the absolute best songwriters of our time. And he's singing cover songs. Instead of writing his own songs, he's singing the standards. Now, these were from the 20s through the 50s, and these are songs that inspired him. He grew up with, I get it. I know he's just absolutely paying tribute to other songs. And what a huge compliment. If you wrote the song and he's singing it as a standard, you made it, right? He did put a couple of his own songs on here, My Valentine and Only Our Hearts. And there is a nice moment when I went to his concert and he sang My Valentine to his new wife, Nancy. I guess she's not new. They've been married for a long time and they're happy. But, I enjoyed it. It's a great concert. It was a nice moment. And yet in the back of my head, I was thinking, I'd rather take it away or temporary secretary. I could do without My Valentine. But I don't think this is one of his best records. I think it's a terrible title. And while I think it's good, it's not a Paul McCartney record, not like Band on the Run or Tug of War. It's nothing like that. And I just don't find that I want to hear that one very often. This next one, I'm going to be picking on the amazing Ella Fitzgerald. And I just grabbed one of the records. I have several of hers. My daughter's a huge Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald fan, and I love her too. I will be playing her Christmas music throughout the season and enjoy it. But I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I don't like scatting. And she does a lot of it. She's the queen of scat. Now, I realize Chet Baker does it too, and I like him, and I can totally enjoy his music, and I can enjoy hers too. I love her singing. But I just have come to realize I don't like scatting, and the records she puts out, where she scats a lot, I just don't dig that. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I just don't enjoy the scatting. I don't know. It's just me. This next artist is someone that I love. The first song she came out with, Boom. I think this is a killer song. I'm talking about Billie Eilish. This is her debut album featuring the cool song Bad Guy. And I gotta tell you, this record rocks my room. I put it on recently with all my acoustic treatments and my amazing subwoofers and speakers and stereo equipment. And it sounds absolutely incredible. Bad Guy is a wonderful song. And then, I can continue to listen for a couple more songs, like Zanny, I think it's what it's called. And I don't know, just after a while, the vocal, it's like that, happy birthday, Mr. President, Marilyn Monroe kind of voice. And I can't do it anymore. I just okay, I'm done. I can't do it. Having said that, Bad Guy is a seriously cool song, and if she is your jam, do not listen to me. I'm a middle-aged woman sitting here in my own music room with my own opinions, and it has nothing to do with your life and what you love. So, but for me, that whispery thing after a couple of songs gets on my nerves. That's just me. I'm about to pick on my very favorite band of all time now, so it just shows nobody's off limits. Here is another turkey moment for me, 5150. And you're like, oh my gosh, how could you ever pick on this record? Well, let me tell you, it took me a long time to get used to this record because I was a David Lee Roth loving fool. I was so depressed after 1984 and they announced they had split up and that Sammy was joining the band. Once he joined, I realized Dave's not coming back. He's gone. He really is. I thought, well, surely they'll figure it out. They're this amazing band who they do something so special together. But no. And I will admit, this isn't a bad album. It's fun. And I had to grow to love it, though, because it meant the end of my favorite era of Van Halen. Summer Nights is a fun song. I love the song Get Up. I think that's absolutely rocks. And Dreams is such a cool song. But this record reminds me of the end of the magic years for Van Halen. And honestly, that's a band I grew to love too, but it's not Van Halen, not the way I knew it. And having said that, I also like Van Halen 3. But I didn't even give this one a chance. It took me forever to get used to Sammy Hagar, and then they tried to put Gary Cherone in. No. I totally boycotted this album at the time. Maybe I shouldn't have, because that meant the end of Van Halen albums until David Lee Roth came back. And they even teased a little bit that David Lee Roth was coming back, and then they brought in Gary Cherone, and I was like, nope, I am not having that. And I have a little bit of regrets about that, but I kind of think I'm right. Now, this next one represents Kiss at their worst time. Now, I just want to say, Crazy Nights. I love that song. I saw the tour. I Went Crazy with Kiss t-shirt, the concert t-shirt. But this album represents to me, I know some of you would disagree, I should say, with Unmasked is their low point. The Elder is their low point. I love The Elder. I'll be on record saying that. To me, this is it. They had taken off their masks and costumes, and the newness of them unmasked had worn off. Gene Simmons was out doing other things and not paying attention to the band. It was only Paul Stanley trying to keep things together at this point. Paul Stanley, if you see this picture here, he's trying to be a sex symbol, and Paul Stanley's a nice looking man, but that doesn't do anything for me. I think that's actually a pretty tacky photo, but it's kind of funny actually. I like the song Crazy Nights, but there's so many songs on here that are just not that good. Reason to Live was another one of the hits off of here. That was kind of lame to me, but I want to say this though about Kiss. They have some of the most interesting history. There's never been the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in a band, ever. They are survivors, and they are scrappy. And I think we all have learned to love their place in history. I'm a huge Kiss fan, but this album, Crazy Nights, kind of represents a low, and it's probably the one record I listen to the least. This next record, I'm the turkey in this scenario, you guys. Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited. I have two stereo copies. One looks a little better than the other. They both held a lot of promise when I bought them. Okay, see these right here? On the back, there's a rare version of this record. And if you can find it, it's worth a ton of money. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm always on the hunt to find it. And in the paragraph, there's a paragraph right around this area right here where it says meaningful. That's the first mistake. It was supposed to say meaningless. Some of the first pressing says meaningful, and that got corrected later. That's one of your first telltale signs that you have this rare version of, it's called From a Buick 6. There's 10 extra seconds of a harmonica or something silly like that. But it's very rare that harmonica, those 10 seconds, are on this record. So you want to find that particular copy because it's worth more money and it's just cool to have, right? That's part of the fun of the dig. Okay, so this record, I saw it. It's a stereo version. That's the one you want. Has that 360 Columbia 2i label. All of the numbers in the dead wax looked right. The problem was with both of these records, they were at antique stores. I couldn't put them on a turntable and listen to see if it had that 10 seconds of the harmonica. But everything about these records matched up nearly perfectly. Got them home, played them, and absolutely not. They were the regular version. So I've bought two of these records, and I'm not complaining. I like the stereo version of this album. Like a Rolling Stone, it's probably my favorite song right now. So it's just one of those things. I'm still on the hunt, and I keep striking out. So I'm the turkey. I'm the turkey. Next up. I love Neil Diamond. I will never put Neil Diamond down. Everything he does is great, and the cornier songs are my favorites. But what's he doing here? This album cover. He looks ridiculous. Is he playing an invisible saxophone? Is he sick? Is he about to throw up? What's going on with him right here? Who decided this was the best picture for his album cover? And then him look at it and go, oh yeah, that's awesome. It makes no sense to me. That is the worst album cover. Neil Diamond is a nicer looking fellow than this. I've just never understood what he's doing here, and it's so ridiculous. Here's another one. I love the Babies. And no, they don't have the best rock band. Here's the Babies, like they're hard rock fun. No, that's a pretty lame band, but they go and double up on it by putting these bronzed shoes that look, they're Converse, but they look like baby shoes that got bronzed. Back in the day, people used to do that with like their baby's first shoes they ever wore. They bronze them. This is a dumb album cover. I love the Babies. I love John Waite. I think they were a great band. So there's some really great music there, but what a dumb album cover. This one, again, the turkey is me. The turkey's me, okay? Rolling Stones Between the Buttons. And you're thinking, why in the world would this record be a turkey? It's absolutely fantastic. And you are so right. But early on when I was buying records, when I lived in Kentucky, I had these bins where I could just kind of dig through the records. I did not have to worry about seams or being able to read the title on the side. And so I bought a record like this very early on. Look at that. Don't do that. You'll never find the record you're looking for. You'll never see it because you can't see the title. You can't. It gets even worse as you get old like me. But yeah, this is when I was less picky about the records. I need to find a cleaner copy of that record. The vinyl is fine, but that album cover is totally trashed. So now I want to show you another Pat Benatar. It's called Crimes of Passion. This is probably her most popular record, and Hit Me With Your Best Shot is probably her best song, or maybe not my favorite, but it's probably the most popular song she ever did. I have memories of seeing my daughter playing that Guitar Hero with that song. Well, I guess a few years ago, something really tragic happened in our country with some gun violence, and she decided, I'm not going to sing Hit Me With Your Best Shot anymore. She was just going to retire her biggest hit she ever made, at least it's one of the biggest, and never play it again, which honestly, when I've heard that song, it never once made me think of guns. It never registered to me like that. It came across to me, maybe she's tired of singing that song, and that was a good way to back up and not have to do it anymore. Just retire that song in the way the Rolling Stones retired Brown Sugar. The problem is, everybody wants to hear that song when they go see Pat Benatar. That would be a huge disappointment. And there's ways she could change the meaning. Instead of saying Fire Away, she could sing something else to make it obviously not about what I'm talking about here. So I think when I see this album in my collection, I think, what is she thinking? She needs to sing that song, make it a way to where it's obvious, make her own statement in it. You know, I guess her own statement is, I'm just not going to sing it anymore. She has a right to do that, but I think it's very, very disappointing. Now, I want to talk to you about the biggest turkey in my collection by far. And a lot of you will probably agree with me. I don't have Adele. That Adele record that's still lingering around that people can't get rid of. I called it the Cheese Touch. It's just one of those records that just didn't sell well, but they made a gazillion of them. We're going to see them forever. Same goes with this. I really wanted to have this box set. I'm a huge Garth Brooks fan. And this, first of all, it was a little bit of a head scratcher because it was some records of his. They weren't in chronological order. Like, he didn't have in this box set he didn't have Rope in the Wind or his debut album, which I thought was really weird. But I was glad to finally have some vinyl versions of these records. And I had to get online. My husband and I got online. He was on something called Talk Shop Live, or I could be wrong about exactly what that's called. But he was doing a special release. It was limited. You could put like your own numbered copies. It was something really special. And we literally sat on our phones for hours trying to buy this record. And we finally were able to do it, but only to pay a lot more money for it. And this is literally been everywhere, for sale everywhere. We thought it was something special we were getting. Nope. This is everywhere from your local record store to the Dollar General store. You can't get rid of this thing. It's like Adele. It's everywhere. The problem is I feel like a turkey for paying so much money for it and waiting all that time to order it online, only for it to be available literally everywhere. So those are some of the turkeys. I probably could do a part 2. There's more. These are some of the turkeys that are in my record collection. And again, hopefully I didn't offend you. Do not pay attention to what I say. Listen to your own ears and your own heart about what you love. Let me know in the comments what you disagree with is fine. A record that you think's a turkey in your collection, a gripe you have maybe like I do. I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. But of course, most importantly, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of my channel. And you rock, and I appreciate you so much. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.